Welcome to the All Around Joe podcast, where we optimize your human performance from my personal experience as an athlete, coach, and all-around self-improvement junkie. On this edition of the All Around Joe podcast, we're going to be talking about priorities for your life and making sure that you've got those set up for yourself so that it becomes really easy when you have to make decisions about what you're going to do when certain situations come up. This podcast is brought to you by the Get Better Project, which is your high-end workout solution for at-home workouts, your high-end at-home workout solution. There you go. Where we have workouts for everything from full gym all the way down to doing the workout at the foot of your bed when you roll out of bed in the morning without any equipment. All right. So we try and create the same or similar stimuluses across the board. And it's a great program for anybody that wants to jump into what I am doing on a regular basis so that you can get yourself into amazing shape, whether it be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6 days a week. We have you covered, including nutrition coaching. And you can get to this by going to thegetbetterproject.com and clicking on programs. We've got you covered. Let me know if you have any questions. All right, so hopping into priorities for your life right here, right now. So you guys, I feel like a lot of people haven't really thought about this, which is why I wanted to talk about it. Priorities for your life. Like, what is your priority level structure? A lot of people that I run into and that I end up coaching end up having their priorities mixed up, and we have to reevaluate their priorities. An example of that is that they got into the, let's say, post-college work rut where their priorities, or they didn't realize that their health should have been their number one priority, right? Because if you don't have your health, then everything else falls apart. And you'll hear mothers, I'll get this one, mothers say like, well, my kids are my priority and all this stuff. That's great, and I completely agree with you, but if you're not healthy and working at your top performance, then your kids are not going to be getting the most from you that you can possibly give. So you got to take care of yourself first. And going back to what I was saying earlier, with people would go through college and they hadn't thought about their health because they didn't have to, right? It was easy at that point. And then they got into their job or their career and they grind it out and they thought that that was their priority, the number one, right? And it is a priority, but it should not be the priority. But that's what I see a lot of times is people will get into their lives around their, early to mid to late 20s, depending on how quickly you guys get into that. And then they totally mix their priorities up. So their number one priority becomes going to work and serving their work boss and not eating right, not getting enough sleep. They're just totally focused on either money or escalating themselves in their career, and then they let these other things fall apart, whether it be their relationships, and by relationships, I mean family or friends. It could be, give or take. And then also their health falls away as well. So they have this one track thinking, I'm going to progress in this. And then 5-10 years later, they turn around and they run into a podcast like this, and they start following somebody like myself, and they realize, oh no, I'm out of shape. I did not look at what my body was doing. I didn't focus on the right priorities. My relationships, have gone to shit. Maybe that means that I've, gone through a few marriages, or, the relationships have not panned out the way that I thought that they would or should. And it's all just because, there are other things obviously that go into this, but if you have a very clear priority list, then it makes things very easy when you have decisions to be made, right? So if you, take a job and it requires you to work 12 hours a day, is that your priority? It's got to be your number one priority at that point, because chances are you're not going to be able to do anything else, whether it be for yourself or your relationship, if that is what's taking over. So you have to balance these things and make sure that you're doing what you want. Maybe you're the type of person that's like, I am, solving world hunger, and I need to work on that 12 plus hours a day, and that's my mission. I don't care, if everything else falls apart. My only argument to that would be that if you are working so much, even at something that is really, really cool, that's going to help the world, that you're passionate about, if your body and mind and physical being, mental being fall apart because of that, because you're not taking care of yourself, then you're not going to be able to fully give yourself to that particular passion or job or career. So you have to make sure that your priorities are in place. And that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to spend, that much time keeping yourself in shape and eating right. You just need to make better decisions. So, you could spend 30 minutes a day doing some sort of high intensity training, and then, maybe an hour one day a week. And that really wouldn't change the amount of impact. It would actually make the impact on your career or life or family better by adding those things in there, because you're going to be functioning at a higher level. You just have to make the decisions so you have your priorities set up in a certain order. So if you know that your number one priority should be health and wellness for yourself, so that everything else should fall into place like it should be, then you can just put those things into place. It doesn't mean that you have to spend 3 hours a day, hustling it at the gym in order to be top condition. And I get this with coaching clients a lot, where they tell me, I don't want to be as in shape as you, I don't need to be super elite fit. And I'm like, okay, guys, but you understand that I do this as a competitive thing, not right now in the van, but that's what people look at, and that's what follows me around, is that I've spent those 3-4 hours a day working out in order to be competitive. But then the health thing is completely different, and that is also another priority there. And it doesn't take working out 3-4 hours a day. It takes probably 30 to 60 minutes a day. If you're doing the right things, if you have everything figured out. And then it means making the right decisions with your food choices and what you're drinking and what you're not drinking choices. So it's not really that hard. It's just, most people work an 8 or 10 hour day, if we include the commute in there. And then that means that you have so much more time, right? If that's 10 hours of your day, and then you sleep for 8 hours, which I know you don't, but let's say you sleep for 8 hours, and that's 18 hours, and that means that you have 6 more hours in your day that you're not doing anything, or that you're filling up with other stuff. So there's 6 hours, and if you only need 30 to 60 minutes in order to make your body and your mind and your physique the best that it possibly could, by joining something like the Get Better Project and doing it in your living room or your garage, then you can have that trickle effect into all these other things. Most people are spending that time watching TV or something, and you might tell yourself that you need to do that to decompress, but that doesn't necessarily make sense. You just need to make sure that your priorities are in line. So if you live by your priorities being number 1, health and fitness, and then number 2, family and friends, and then number 3, career and impact that you're going to make, then it's pretty interesting how your decisions start to change. So let's say that you get to work in a typical day, and you would, have not eaten breakfast, or eaten, a Pop-Tart for breakfast. Grab your coffee, put, milk and sugar in it, get going. You get to lunch, you go to McDonald's, grab a burger, then you have a crash, so you have another coffee with sugar and cream in it. And then you work until 5 or 6 p.m. By that time, you're crashing again. You head home. You decide that you want to have a microwave dinner and decompress. So you sit in front of the TV, and then you grab a beer, or you go meet your friends down the street at the pub, and you have a couple of beers, and then you go home and you pass out and you do it again. All right, so that is a life that I actually encounter a lot with people that have decided, oh, shoot, I, have been doing this for 10 years and I feel and look like crap, and I'm like, I'm not doing the things that I should be doing. I realize that now, and I've just lost 10 years of my life. So if you would take that same day, and let's say you get up, you have the same job, hopefully you're passionate about it and loving it. You get up, you still can have your coffee, right? Maybe you're intermittent fasting, maybe you're not, depending on what your goals are. Makes it easier if you have a job to intermittent fast, because then you don't have to worry about eating breakfast right away. You can just cruise into lunch. But let's say you grab your coffee, you decide to leave the sugar out of it. You won't miss it after a few weeks anyway, trust me. You leave the sugar out of it. We could even talk about putting some sort of protein powder or you could still have some sort of cream, or maybe you like to add some fattiness in there, something to change it up. But you just grab your black coffee, you head off to work. Because of that, your body's going to start burning fat more effectively. Your brain is actually going to function better, especially if you're utilizing something like the MCT oils in your coffee in the morning to get that blasted off. You get to lunch, you make a better decision at lunch. Maybe you have a salad, or you have, a sandwich with some really high quality bread. We're not talking white bread, we're talking like some super grain type of stuff, depending on what your body interacts with best. So you'd have to figure out what is not going to make you feel that super crash. For me, that might be that I would have an awesome big salad. Then if you wanted to, you could still have another coffee, but you're not feeling that crash, because the crash is coming from either eating just way too much food and then your blood sugar rises and then it drops because of that. That's what the body does. Or you've had too many carbohydrates, which are doing the same thing. So your blood sugar goes up and then it slams you back down. And then you feel like you need to take a nap and have a pick-me-up. I never, ever feel like I need to take a nap in the middle of the day. It just doesn't happen. But if you want to have another coffee, I'm not against that, assuming that you're not incredibly burning yourself out on caffeine by having a ton of coffees with all that caffeine. Maybe you have a decaf or whatnot. Then you cruise through the rest of your day, snacking on things like nuts, maybe even having another meal, another salad or something like that around 3 p.m. Or if you're going to, ideally hit this up right, maybe you're going to hit the gym after work. So what you do is you might have some oatmeal. That's one of my, 2 hours before working out preferences, but I know that works really well for me. Maybe you like to have a sandwich or something like that with high quality carbohydrates, but what you're doing is setting that up about 2 hours before you're going to hit your gym session. So you do that, it keeps you fueled throughout your day. You crush your work, you hit 5 p.m. and you drive straight to your gym. So from 5:30 p.m. you do the 5:30 class, you're feeling awesome. You work out really hard. It makes you feel great. By 6:30 p.m., you're headed out the door, home by 7 or even earlier, depending on how far away your commute is. Then, all right, you got home by 7 p.m. You still have time to hang out, watch that TV show, make a better decision about dinner. At this point, you maybe need some more carbohydrates. So you have some, let's say some alternative pasta source. So some like vegetable pasta, or even you just have a big old stir fry. So continue blasting those vegetables into your life. You have some quinoa maybe as your carbohydrate source, whether you're doing meat or not. Maybe you do an open, like a burrito bowl type of thing with tons of vegetables and beans and all that good stuff. So you're making these better choices. In fact, you could go stop by a Chipotle or something like that, Panera, and just make the quality choices of like, hey, I'm going to get a salad. I'm not going to have the tortilla, the burrito, unless I really needed it from having a ton of caloric deficit from my workout. And then you decide to not have the alcohol because you know that you want to perform better the next day, and you know that if you have an alcoholic beverage, most people will not sleep as well within a few hours of going to sleep. So you still go and hang out with your friends, give them high fives, but your priorities are just different. So, you have water, then you go to bed, and you've created those relationships and given those high fives and feel good about it, and then have supported the priorities in your life. So you've taken care of your health by eating the right food, going to the gym and working out your body, because your body is either getting worse or getting better. So let's work out on a regular basis so it's constantly slowly getting better. Even as you age, guys, there's not a point where it stops allowing you to get better. Then, because of that, your performance at your career is top notch. So you've only spent an extra hour improving that physical aspect. You haven't spent any more time creating better choices with your nutrition, because the choices are there. You just have to make the right choices. So there's zero time lost there. And then you go and still go hang out with your friends, still watch the TV show that you like to watch, but you don't partake in the alcohol or the negative component of it, and you continue to foster those relationships. So there you're hitting health, relationships, career, and because you have them in that order and they're actually taking precedent, you're going to accelerate how they are all improving. So you're going to be able to think better and perform better and look better, be more confident in your career, and that will help you to improve that. And then in your relationships, if you're feeling better, looking better, you're going to attract those types of people to you. You're actually going to be more clear-headed so that you're going to be able to understand and think about improving those people's lives around you and making the world a better place. You're not just going to get sucked into doing the same old thing and complaining and talking about the things that too many people do. So do you see how this can be quite easy to make just a few priority shifts and your life can be completely different? And you don't have to really change anything all that much. It's very easy to do these things. If you have any questions about this or pushback, I would love to hear it because we can talk through it. In fact, I do coaching. So if you are in a slump right now and you're listening to this or you would like to accelerate to the next level, hit me up at joe@allaroundjoe.com and we can talk about how much I charge for personal one-on-one coaching to get you to the next level. And a lot of that is just we get to hang out. Right? Because it can be, although I say it, you are impacted by you are the 5 people that you hang around most. So hang around good people. But sometimes it can be really hard to figure out who those people are, where to find them, all that stuff. And you can get a jump start by hiring a coach like myself in order to hang around somebody that is really already has been doing or walking that walk for some time now. So, we get to hang out, we get to talk, we get to set some goals for you, we get to figure out and strategize how we're going to improve your life and then actually push towards doing that. So it can be a really fun experience. I really love doing it. So hit me up if you're interested in that. If not, just make these changes. Think about the decisions. It's just these little decisions, It's like, hey, I've got this coffee right here. There's nothing in it. I decided that when the Starbucks barista said, "Do you want cream or sugar?" I said, "No." That was the decision that I made. And now I am clear-headed. I'm not going to have a crash. I don't have that extra sugar that's going to be floating around my bloodstream. That's actually the easiest way to convert anything into body fat. So now I am improving all of these factors in my body by one little decision. And you just make those little decisions throughout your life on a daily basis, and you'll start to stack up some huge wins, and your life, you'll look back. It may take a year, it may take longer, but these little decisions, you look back and you're like, wow, that made a huge impact. And a lot of times we think, I need to make a huge change. It's not a huge change. It's just these little decisions. Don't drink things with sugar in them at all, ever, because it doesn't align with your priorities, And I'm not saying that I did say ever. But I don't actually mean that. At first, it might be ever, and then you get a little bit lenient. You get into your workout groove, and then you guys go and do a hour-long team workout on a Saturday, and then you're gonna go hang out at a brunch afterwards, and you give yourself a cheat meal, and you have a Coke and you have some pancakes or something like that. But you need to understand that you made the decision to do that, and it's not the norm. A lot of times people will just do what they feel, and they're not actually they are making a decision to not make a decision. So they just don't want to think about it, and they'll just say, hey, I'm just going to do this, what other people are doing, because I don't want to actually step up and make that decision. Does that make sense? So make a decision, make hard decisions as often as you can, make them quickly. If they're not the right decision, learn from them, and that's fine. It's okay to make a mistake. And lots of mistakes. I do it all the time. But learn from those mistakes. If you go and eat a burrito and you feel terrible afterwards, but you decided I'm going to try half this burrito because I think I should, and then you feel bad afterwards, then go ahead and the next time it comes around, be like, oh, I'm going to get a burrito bowl because I think that tortilla was a huge gut bomb for me. I might have some gluten intolerances or whatnot. So let's try that, and we'll make that decision. And maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. And maybe the next time you have to get a salad because the beans were not working for you or whatever. You see what I'm saying? But you make these decisions after you have the priorities set up and just do a little bit here, a little bit there, and continue to move forward as much as you can. All right, guys, I hope this was helpful for you. If you have any questions about any of this stuff, hit me up. I'm happy to help you out on social media. I'm happy to, see if we're a right fit for coaching, whatnot. But yeah, guys, make those good decisions, set up your priorities, have thought about them so that you can, really achieve the things that you want to in life. All right. This podcast was brought to you by the Get Better Project, which is your high-end, at-home workout program, everything from full gym all the way down to nothing needed, doing the workouts in your living room. This is the actual program that I'm following on a regular basis. I'm writing the workouts for that I do nutrition coaching for as well. So head over to thegetbetterproject.com if you'd like to join us in the Get Better Project workouts and click on the programs button. So you'll see a couple of programs there. Choose the one that's right for you, whether you need nutrition or not. And we would love to have you. All right, guys. I hope you have an awesome rest of your day, and make sure that you subscribe, follow, share, rate and review. There you go. All right, here we go. The All Around Joe podcast, where we optimize your human performance from my personal experience as an athlete, coach, and all-around self-improvement junkie. I will see you on the next one.